Were you on paper who they wanted for data?
How do you mean?
In the sense of, were you the right age? Were you sort of the right stature? Were you sort of who they had in mind, or did you go in having to convince them that obviously that you were the right guy, but like, did you foot the bill from the beginning? Was it a bunch of guys that looked just like you?
Well, they didn't all look like me. Can you imagine going into an audition and all the guys sitting there look exactly the same? I'm sure that
next gen episode.
Exactly. But we received an evacuation notice.
Go.
I hate to do this.
Go.
Can we use any of this?
We'll use this and then we'll come back. It doesn't matter when it is. Just go. Don't worry about it.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Brent, just hit stop on that quick time and then we'll figure it out later, but be safe.
All right. I just did. I'm so sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
All right. Well, we'll do part 2 another time.
We will. We absolutely will. Take care of yourselves. And when you let us know you're okay when you get to where you're going.
Whoops, you're gone. I will.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Bye, Katee. Thanks. I'll talk to you.
Yeah.
Take care.
Of course.
Bye.
Bye.
I want to show you what wind can do to a fire.
This is the Palisades fire burning right now.
Look at the burst of that flame.
The flames continuing to burn.
Approximately 166,000 residents are under evacuation warnings.
5 months later.
So what was I saying? Did I say something about?
You said something about there was a moment where you got a text message.
Yeah.
Something about a fire.
Yeah. There was a fire.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Well, that's why I am wearing the same clothes, because all of my clothes were
because this
burned.
is all you own.
Yeah, they're gone. Everything was gone.
I'm laughing.
I know. I mean, but we were laughing at the time because who knew? I mean,
who knew?
It was very vague too. The message I got, my son said there's a fire.
Because it was all in emojis?
Well, exactly.
Eggplant, fire, water squirt. You were like, there's either a fire or he's getting really lucky right now.
Yeah. Well, but he was upstairs and he said, hey, we may have to leave. And I said to you, I think you'll find that on the tape.
Yeah.
Apparently there's a fire. I may have to stop, but let's just keep going until.
And you don't think so, is what you said.
I said, but I don't think so. Right. And then I get this text from him that said, all right, we have to go. And
well, even at that point, I believe the last thing you said to me is, we might be able to pick this up later today.
Right. Because, and in fact, I went upstairs, we went outside, we could see the fire. And none of us, and many people felt this way, felt that this was going to get out of hand. But, almost immediately 100 mile an hour winds came and the thing just blew up. And so we left. My wife is very on it. And she's like, no, we got to go. And we have a dog, and so she wanted to get the dog in the car. And she said, should we just take my car? And both my son and I said, no, I'm going to take my own car. She said, all right, meet me at so-and-so, and we'll figure out what we're going to do. By then, there was already traffic backing up on Sunset, and so we thought we really got to go. And I didn't think that we all looked at it and thought, we'll be back in an hour.
Yeah.
And they'll get this out. We'll be back in an hour. We'll be watching TV, and I'll be doing a podcast with you. Because
they have before.
Yeah.
Just put them out.
Yeah. And it didn't look that big. It really didn't. It was quite small at that point. And, but we weren't prepared we hadn't packed. We didn't take anything. I took my passport. Yeah. And I grabbed a bag that I had gotten for Christmas that was socks and underwear. And that's all I took. And not my computer, not anything else. And they were laughing at me, my son and my wife, and until about the second or third day, and then
And you had clean underwear, and they were washing theirs in a sink.
And they stopped laughing, and they thought, God, it was a great move.
So smart.
Yeah.
It was absolutely, and still is absolutely, just devastating.
Oh, it is. It really is. And you know, to be clear, it's much more devastating for other people. I mean, we lost everything in the house. We were renting our house, so we didn't. We're not paying a mortgage, but we had the means to keep going, even though, lost all of our artwork that we'd collected for 50 years.
Oh my
God.
God.
Furniture and all of our clothes, all three of our clothes, everything. And because nothing made it. And, but there are people who just can't recover from it because they're not able to. Their house was everything and their belongings, and they didn't have any insurance. We had renter's insurance. And so we're not suffering on the level that a lot of people are, and I'm very grateful for that. But nonetheless, it's a shock, and you're reminded of it on a daily basis because you say, well, somebody mentions something, and you wind up saying, oh, I have. Well, no, I don't. I had one of those, and I think it was much harder on my wife and son. We lost things that were really important beyond the material things. I mean, all of his journals that he kept since he was a little boy, all of my wife's videos of him as a child, and photos of things we did even before he was born, and things of her mother's who that meant so much to her. It's just very hurtful, but and then there's a flip side to it where you're sort of, if you do have the means to recover your life, there is something about just the adventure of life, and it's part of this grand adventure. And sometimes, I remember years ago reading that Orson Welles' house had burned down, and he lost many scripts that he'd written and things like that. And his comment was, I think everybody should lose everything at least once in their lives. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. What the result of it all is, but I know a lot of people are really suffering, and I
think it's weird. You mentioned those things, like the things that you don't think about, the things that aren't material,
right?
The memories and the things like that.
Yeah.
But I also am so just blown away that people are still paying a mortgage.
Yeah.
On nothing.
Yeah.
That to me is criminal.
Well, I know, and I mean I think they have a lot of lenders have made concessions and given them time that they wouldn't ordinarily have had, but then there's all kinds of, we're lucky we had insurance, but still it's a daily grind, and particularly for my wife, who's taken over most of that, of you have to account for everything you had, and you have to try to remember everything you had, and when you bought it and what the replacement value would be, and you've got to research it and find out. And it's a lot of work. I
mean, remembering everything you had is crazy.
It really is.